a few years of his career to Celtic, try to improve as a player, win a few things, and if he wants to, put himself in the shop window a bit more to get what he might call a dream move, to what he also might call a bigger club than us. But it'd be nice to think that he would take some kind of notice of those comments. But also Frank de Boer, whose wife's a hooer, whose ma's a hooer, sorry. He made similar kind of comments as well, to say, don't have your head turned just now. You're still young. You should get some experience at. In fact, no, it wasn't about Guidetti. I'm getting that completely wrong. It was Virgil van Dijk he was actually making that comment to. But again, it's these comments that might influence some of the players that are maybe having their heads turned to go elsewhere. But there's more to it than just going and chasing the dollars or chasing the pounds or the euros.
Hold on a minute though. What you said about De Boer, it was a hunt with his wife and his mum will be the same person.
Well, also they would also be their auntie.
Aye, well there is that enough.
And potentially sister, Leo.
Aye.
So,
thank you for correcting me, Liam. You're spot on there.
After being a wee bit not well the past sort of few days, I actually went online to find out, in the terms of the last 32 who's already qualified, and the teams I went through and found, I was through Wikipedia or something. That was one of the better articles. I'd say pretty much every team in that list would spank us at the moment. So I just found the article. Just give me 2 seconds. Right, so here it is. These are the teams that have already qualified. So forget about all the Europa League sections that are up for grabs. Right. So apart from Salzburg, so they've qualified as winners. Right. So as have Dynamo Moscow, Inter, Everton, and Fiorentina. Right. So probably a bit of a spanking from each of them. Qualified Spurs and Besiktas. I think that's still to be decided. That section. Feyenoord, Napoli, Dynamo Kiev, Legia Warsaw, Shivers that one, just thought the thought of it, Trabzonspor, and from the Champions League already Anderlecht from Group D. Now what happens is the winners of each section are seeded, and the runners-up of each section in the Europa League are not seeded. And then what happens is the 8 teams that come from the Champions League, the best 4 are seeded, and the worst 4, you could say that way, are not seeded. So this was currently as it stands, right? So in the third place, Olympiacos, Liverpool, Zenit St. Petersburg, Anderlecht. Well, they've already been confirmed as finishing third. CSKA Moscow, Man City are obviously there in 4th position as well in the same section. Ajax, Schalke, and Bilbao, Athletic Bilbao. And I just look at those going, holy. Don't be wrong. I mean, you could end up with someone like Maribor, depending on the way the results go. But or Bate or one of these sort of teams, But you think of those teams there, would be a fairly hard battle against each and every one of them. Yeah. In fact, the guys in Celtic Dreams are saying that they would love Celtic. Yeah, I'd love Liverpool against Celtic in the next round as well. So, but they're all good teams, and I haven't even mentioned the guys in the Europa League that are still. Actual seeded teams, you know what I mean? So so they've even some of them. So we have got, said Tottenham, so Borussia Mönchengladbach, Villarreal, Bruges, Torino. Who else we got? PSV. Although Group F's not too bad. Karabag, whoever the hell they are. Saint Etienne, that's could be one of those. Sevilla. Although watched Feyenoord play Sevilla, that was the game just before, and Feyenoord was just, a class and above the bit I saw. Wolfsburg, Sparta Prague, Napoli, Aalborg, Steaua Bucharest. So there's a lot of good teams in there as well. They're going to come into the.
And then there's us.
And then there's us. You know what I mean? So, but like again, we'd have to be playing above our current performances. Put that we basically punching above our weight.
Absolutely.
To compete against pretty much most of those teams. So. Although that's one thing about, we're going to get a Diddy team or not, well, there's not exactly many Diddy teams sort of jumping out at me out of most of the ones I've mentioned. It depends if you want that glamour tie. If you want Inter Milan or Fiorentina, or Dynamo Kiev or whoever. But look, we've struggled against Salzburg, who are a good team. Don't get me wrong, a good team, but they're just not the same.
We struggle against Maribor, for crying out loud.
It was different sort of time though. That was certainly a time.
Different time, but similar performances, Pat.
I get that, but I'd like to think if we're playing Maribor now, we'd sort of deal with them a lot better. But I just reckon that was wrong time of the year for us. New manager, new system, new everything coming in, so that didn't help. Players didn't seem fit, but we are where we are. So it's just a case of any of those teams coming through, I just reckon is going to give us sort of big problems.
The other interesting thing I'd heard, now I didn't see this pre-match press conference, but it was the commentator had mentioned it last night, and it was John Collins had said that Red Bull were incredibly fit as a team. They were all really fit, and they were one of the best teams in Europe at closing players down and closing the ball down and this kind of thing. And I'm thinking to myself, right, wait a minute here. You are now in that job. Yourself and Ronnie are in that job for, what are we talking about? August, September, October, not 4 months now. And I'll be honest again, guys, I'm still not seeing this this high tempo, quick passing, high pressing, this football that they keep preaching that they're wanting us to be playing. There's still no progress towards it. And yet we can have our assistant manager on praising the other team because they do it. And you're thinking, how hard can it be to coach the players this? To teach the players this that you've got there? Unless they are all idiots. I don't think they would be, because there's other teams seem to be able to do it. Have we just got players that just don't understand basic instructions, or am I missing something completely? But we still aren't showing too many signs of progress since, let's say the start of the season. I'll forget about the pre-season and the Champions League stuff, but even in the Scottish League, there's not been huge progress at all, other than we've kind of settled down and we managed to get a little run of wins together that's taken us to the top of the league, albeit on goal difference. But as you said earlier on, Pat, the Ronnie Dyler stuff, the jury's still out for you. I would love for it to work out for the guy, and I'll still give the guy time as well, but we really should be coming up to Christmas time now. We really should be starting to see the signs of a team developing and improvement coming, and it just doesn't seem to be there. Just does not seem to be there.
I was chatting to, I think it's my brother the other day about this, and I think pretty much along the lines of, this is just my opinion, if Sevco were still in the Premier League and even half competitive, I reckon he'd be out of job by now. I think the thing that's saving him is the fact that there's no real competition in the league. So I think if with those sort of results, I mean, he's qualified for the last 32, but I just don't think the fans are that happy, and I don't think the performances are that great. And he's got to get his own team, but he's obviously using sort of Lennon's squad pretty much, barring sort of one or two guys that brought in, but one or two guys that he brought in that aren't playing. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I just reckon if there was any sort of competition from sort of a Scottish team, then I reckon he'd be on a sugary peg, so to speak. So, but European, I mean, that last night could easily have turned into a 3-4-5-0 result. Let's face it, it was 2-0 going on 3-4.
Yeah,
and if that had actually happened, could that have been the end for him? I mean, you'd probably say no, but. Yeah, I think it was certainly on even more shaky ground if it was a bit of a spanking. Well, it was a spanking in the end, but I mean the performance, it could easily just finished. It could have finished 2-2, or it could have finished 3-1.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, so it was, they were sort of pushing for that sort of equalising goal, and I mean, I think they scored even at the end against the run of play. And you're probably right. I think the word had probably got out to the park. There didn't seem much in terms of the sort of either Dialer or Collins on the touchline. They may well have been doing it, but it certainly wasn't on TV. But out in the touchline, shouting, pushing them forward and stuff like that to get the goal. It was just a case of, all right, we don't know what to do in here, and just totally took the foot off the pedal. But so I don't know. I think you're right. Sort of jury's certainly out, but he's going to have to try and get pull his finger out and do it starting pretty soon, because these other teams, as you said, are coming to play against us, playing that exact same sort of tactic. You know what I mean? Even Astra to a certain extent probably did the same thing. Yeah. And it's a case of, all right, if other teams are doing it to us, why can't we learn from what they're doing, or do that same sort of system? But and they've got some players in there that can do it. I mean, Johansson, for example, can do it. You got Griffiths can do it. They can certainly pressurise from the front, if you know what I mean. But and Brown does it, and they've got sort of certain players that'll do it. But then it just kind of breaks down. All you need is that sort of one weak link. You know what I mean?
You're right. You do see them sometimes doing it sporadically, but it's not. And I understand that it takes a level of fitness to be able to do that for prolonged periods in a game. But again, I thought that this is what they were going to be working on, and this is what they were going to be bringing to the squad they inherited as well. That they were going to get the guys ultra fit, and they were going to be able to press for as near to 90 minutes as possible to put the opposition under pressure and cough up the ball a lot easier than even having to win tackles, that kind of thing. But
the one thing that's probably not so much in his favour, but one thing that may sort of give him an out, I suppose, is things like internationals and all that sort of thing have been coming up fairly regular as well. So getting guys training, 4, 5, 6 days solid a week, because they're probably not at the stage where they're not even training that much these days, because they're playing so many games in between that it's just too hard to try and get that system going, and really the only time they get to practice it is on game day. So it could be stuff like that. They've had a few injuries, again, Lustig's been in and out. Again, Castle might be the guy that they try and do it on the left side. He's been out injured, and just that's potentially not helping either. But I mean, Guidetti in and out between sort of European games and the league games probably isn't helping, because they're playing. They obviously play a lot through him in the SPL and stuff like that. But when he's not there in Europe, it just looks like it's a totally different team. Like, there's no sort of spark. There's no I guess cutting edge like that mob last night. Probably had somebody, I think it was Brendan, sort of put in what the actual figures were at the end of it. Just let me see if I can find it. But in terms of possession and stuff, but they got a couple of chances in the first sort of 10, 15 minutes and just nailed it.
Yeah.
And there was one, I can't even think what it was. We had a similar sort of one, and the ball came over and ended up getting knocked over the bar, I think it was. Same sort of scenario, but so here it is. It's 51% possession for us. We had 7 shots on goal. They had 12, and we had 6 corners each. So they had 12 shots at goal, and we had 7.
Yeah,
and it was our home game.
Yes,
you know what I mean. So we're the ones they have nothing to play for. They've qualified. All right, they want to win the section, but did they have anything to play for? But they still 12 shots on goal to us at 7. I think, and even I think when it was 2-0, certainly middle of the first half, I think it was something like 5 shots on goal. We had none.
Yeah, you could easily have said that first 15, 20 minutes they would have had 65 to 70% possession as well, because we were just huffing and puffing. They just caught us completely cold, it seemed, which I found bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, it's that whole cutting edge. You kind of get what you pay for. I've said this 100 times on here, that if you've got somebody up front who will put goals away for you regular, you spend big money and get them. Correct. And at the moment, we just don't have that. And that mob last night, I'm not saying that that guy Alan was okay. I wouldn't say he was, world class. Soriano was certainly a great player, great technique and stuff. But after 25 minutes, whether it was a tactical thing or whether they just took the foot off the pedal, we dealt with them all right, really. If you think about it, and even again the goal they got at the end was just a breakaway goal. That just happens.
It was. It was unfortunate. It was unfortunate. And again, the way Gordon made a good save, it could have spilled out anywhere else on the park, but it just so happened to fall to that boy's head. So it was a little bit unlucky, that last goal.
But yeah, it's more the cutting edge. I think it's just if you're going to, they gave the ball away a lot last night again. I think that's been a bit of a kind of common theme in Europe. And again, you come up against a good team, you can't do that.
Yeah.
It was Mulgrew was culpable of it. Even Ambrose was putting the ball out for play. There was a pass, I think, in the second half. Scott Brown, to play up the wing,